Welcome Welsh boxing fans to the second edition of Fighting Talk Wales with myself, Cian Gibbons, and John Scriven as ever. On today's show we're going to be talking about last week's controversial Saniga show. I'm sure you all watched the incident between Craig Kennedy and Wadi Camacho. John, we were both there that night. You were there taking pictures ringside, I was reporting. What happened?
Well, it started off a really good fight. Kennedy boxing really to his ability. Step into the left, catching him with the right hand. Busting Camacho up in the first round, I thought, doing really well. But Camacho was always in the fight. And then the second round, did he bite him or didn't he bite him?
Yeah, I mean, for people who didn't perhaps watch the show on Eurosport, they seem to go for a clinch on the ropes.
Yeah.
I don't know, Kennedy from the TV angle, I mean, I didn't notice it on the night, but from the TV angle, Kennedy seemed to make some sort of gesture towards, Camacho made some sort of gesture towards Kennedy, almost like a bite into the motion, although I couldn't see it. Even the TV cameras don't really show it that well. And then the referee pretty much disqualified Camacho straight away for biting. I mean, the referee seemed to think he saw a bite. And I spoke to people ringside, including Steve Robinson, Kennedy's trainer, who said he's seen a bite, and Craig indicated he saw a bite. Yeah, everyone I spoke to ringside said they saw a bite, or it looked like a bite. Kennedy indicated he got bit. And the referee, I presume Martin Williams, was in a position where I presume he saw a bite, and he made the call.
Watching it back on television, it does look like that Camacho did actually stick his head in. I think the referee was in a good position to see what went on, and if he did bite him, I do think he did make the right decision, because there's no place for boxing for biting in boxing.
No, definitely. And I think, but one thing, one of Wadi Camacho's previous opponents, or the last guy he fought for Kennedy, the Scottish guy Simmons, he said on Twitter that Camacho had a habit of sticking his jaw into his shoulder, sort of this area here, and it could possibly have been that, I don't know, but the TV camera angles weren't conclusive at all. Although the promoter Chris Saniga has indicated that why didn't the referee take a point as opposed to disqualification? And from what I understand, it is the referee's discretion. However, I think most people I spoke to agree that a disqualification was the right decision for a biting incident.
Definitely, I have to agree with you there. Kennedy, I'm sure he'd know whether it was somebody sticking his head into his neck or whether it was a bite. I'm sure you can tell the difference. It was an instant reaction off Craig, and in my opinion, it was the right decision.
Yeah, I mean, you interviewed Craig after the fight. Did you see any, or did you look for any bite marks on him?
I didn't notice anything, but he was adamant that it was a bite, and you just got to go with that. And
I suppose Saniga, as the promoters, are asking possibly for a rematch. I suppose that'll depend on whether the Board of Control willing to license Camacho again after the bite, if it is proven and sort of held to be a bite. A rematch, would be interesting to see that? Would the fans like to see that?
Most definitely. The atmosphere, it was one of the best atmospheres I've been in boxing. Even when Kennedy was just walking into the ring, the atmosphere was electric, and he was turning out to be a really good fight.
Yeah, and of course Kennedy brings lots of fans as well. I think 300 fans. It was a great atmosphere in Kennedy fights.
Yeah.
How do you think the fight would have gone if it had gone past that incident? If the referee had said, right, I'm taking 1 point off you, box on, what would have happened?
I think if the fight kept on going the way it was going, I think Kennedy was slightly leading the way, and probably would have picked up a points decision.
Right. Also on the night, there was another slightly controversial incident with the Dara and the Beast Morgan fight.
The Beast of Bonamine?
The Beast of Bonamine, yeah. Again, this is the same referee, Martin Williams. People suggesting the fight maybe was stopped too soon. I mean, I don't think it would have made a difference to the result of the fight.
No.
I mean, obviously Darren had sort of 5-6 home weight advantage on the night.
Another fight I was, really looking forward to, an heavyweight clash. I think it was over within about 20 seconds.
Well, less than that. I think it was
Less than that.
less than 10 seconds.
People are questioning whether they should have been stopped or not. Again, it's down to the referee. He got a better view than us. Obviously, give Dan Morgan's opponent a count. We can't exactly see what his eyes are like. But sometimes when you're speaking to the boxers after they've been caught with a shot, they're looking at you, but their eyes is just like vacant. So maybe, that's what he's seen. And then when he did slightly walk off to his corner, I did see a slight stumble there. So I think maybe it was another good decision by the referee.
Yeah, and of course, like you said, I mean, you work with amateur boxers a lot, go your own amateur boxing gym, so only the people very close to the boxers know exactly what's happening, so we have to just... the result wouldn't have changed anyway.
No.
I think there was only going to be one winner that night.
I think the only people who are disappointed are the bloodthirsty boxers and boxing fans who want to see, people getting knocked out and
Well, I guess.
punched all over the ring. But the referee's got to think of the safety of the boxer, and it's his decision.
An excellent fight, probably the fight of the night, I think, was between Chris Ware and Morgan Jones. Great fight.
Morgan Jones' debut.
Yeah, very tough debut, I think.
Very tough.
I think after the first round, I thought Morgan might have a bit too much for Chris, but Chris really bit down in his gum shield and made a real war of it. It was very close towards the end.
Well, I've seen in an interview when Morgan said, I've learned from this fight because we obviously sparred together, and he went into the fight thinking it was going to be easier than it was. So it just goes to show that in sparring, it really doesn't make a difference, because come fight night, it was a total different situation.
Yeah. And I think Chris has indicated as well that he would like a rematch. Is that a fight you think Morgan would take? Or if you were Morgan's trainer, would you have a rematch with Chris Ware, or would you just try to...
I know it's a tough one. I think he proved himself. It was a tough debut. I just maybe try and give him a couple of easier fights now and build him up, and then maybe if they both keep on winning, maybe maybe next year, maybe have a rematch or something.
Yeah, definitely, because it was a great fight. It was sort of the first round, I think, was Morgan's, and then from then on it could have been both guys landing big shots through the fight.
I know Chris thought he won as well, but I think the knockdown in the first round in a 4-round
fight, a knockdown is crucial.
Yeah,
it makes it very difficult for the guy who's been knocked down to sort of come back on the cards, doesn't it?
But a good performance from Chris as well, because he'd been out the ring for 2 years, and he's done his job out in there, I thought.
Yeah, definitely. Even though the Eurosports commentators throughout the fight were calling them both Chris Jenkins and Jenkins' Polish opponent.
Yeah. Which
annoyed me greatly when I watched it back on television. Which brings us on to Chris Jenkins. I think Chris in this fight, he was the guy who's fighting had an okay record, but he was there as an opponent. The only way Chris was going to look good or get any sort of credit for this fight was if he just blew this guy away.